Greetings, YouTube. The doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons & Dragons. And today on the Doctor Spell Prognosis, we are talking about the spell Tiny Servant from Xanthar's Guide to Everything. We're giving this spell a big fat F. There are a lot of things I would change about this spell, including the level that this spell is at. But first, let's don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. All right. So, Tiny Servant is a third level spell that is usable by wizards and artificers. I don't think that this spell should be third level. It's very similar to Unseen Servant. It has a couple of upgrades above Unseen Servant. But I think for being a third level spell above Unseen Servant, it should be able to do some other things. So let's, I just want to look at one thing. We'll get back to this here in a second. So Unseen Servant. Unseen Servant is a first level spell. So this is 2 levels above this. I really think that Tiny Servant should be a second level spell, maybe, because it is just a step above Unseen Servant, but definitely not a third level spell. So it takes a minute to cast it. It is not a concentration spell. It has a range of touch, verbal, somatic. It lasts for 8 hours. So, Unseen Servant is a ritual that lasts for an hour, so you can keep casting it over and over and over again, but it still takes 10 minutes to cast it because of the ritual part. Not concentration. So you touch one tiny non-magical object that isn't attached to another object or surface and isn't being carried by another creature. It animates, gets little arms and legs. Becomes a creature under your control. It's a construct. It's called Tiny Servant. So here are the stats for Tiny Servant. It's got a 15 armor class. It's got a whopping 10 hit points. So we've just went over a whole bunch of summon spells. They do require concentrate, but they're all creatures that have 30, 40, 50 hit points. It has a speed of 30. It's got a strength of 4. Now I bring that up because we're going to talk about how much it can carry. It does have some damage immunities and condition immunities. It's got blind sight, and it's got a pretty bad slam attack. I mean, +5 to hits, okay, but like a D4 +3 for a tiny creature, that's just not great damage. Again, we were looking at all these summon spells, so it's not a combat option. To be clear, I mean, it's got 10 hit points. At third, if you're casting third level spells, which means you're 5th level or higher, you're going to be fighting things that are going to be able to hit this thing in one hit and take it out. So there is that. As a bonus action. So with the other summon creatures, you just tell them what to do for free and they go do it. This one requires a bonus action. You can mentally command the creature if it is within 120 feet. You decide what actions it will take and where it will move during its next turn. You can tell it to do stuff. If you issue no commands, it does nothing other than defend itself against hostile creatures. Once given an order, the servant continues to follow the order until its task is complete. It drops to 0, it reverts to its original form, and any remaining damage carries over to that form. You have the option to upcast this spell. When you cast this spell using a spell slot of 4th level or higher, you can animate 2 additional objects for each slot above 3rd level. So at 4th level, you can animate 3 objects. Now, this is usable by wizards and artificers. So I do want to point one thing out with artificers. So just for the comparison, it does do a few things better. It lasts longer. It does have an attack, whereas the Unseen Servant does. It requires a bonus action to tell the Unseen Servant what to do and the Tiny Servant, so there is that. For artificers can get this infusion right here. So they can get a tiny construct servant. that can attack and has evasion and can channel magic. And this is free. The homunculus is a freebie. It's an infusion. It does cost 100 gold pieces, but it's not a spell. So the artificer can have this and the tiny servant as well. Now, I do want to talk about this 4 strength, because that's something that needs to be addressed. Because you can use the tiny servant to go and open doors or open chests or walk across a floor or things like that to get it to basically trip traps. So let's talk about that strength of 4. It could carry stuff too. So carrying capacity is your strength multiplied by 15. So 4 multiplied by 15 is 60. But size and strength. Tiny creatures carry less. Tiny creature halves this. So instead of 60, it can carry 30 pounds. Whereas the unseen servant can only, I think it's like 10 pounds or something. So, and mage hand, I think, is even less. I mean, it's like 15 pounds for unseen servant. It's a little less for mage hand. And this is 30 pounds. So, it can push and drag twice as much. So it can push and drag 60 pounds. So that's quite a bit more compared to the unseen servant. So you could use this to open doors, things like that. But again, you know, if I were getting 3rd level spells, I would not take this slot. I wouldn't think about taking this slot, and I would use, you know, one of those summon spells, like Summon Shadow Spawn or Summon Undead or something like that, to summon something that could basically do the same thing and be a lot more effective in combat. All right, that's what I got for everybody today. I hope everybody enjoyed, and I will catch everybody later.